For our safety moments, in the place of convenience, you walk through the entrance. To your left is for female, and to your right is for male. We do not have any, we are not aware of any fire drills today, but should there be any emergency, this is our muster point to your right. So thank you all. Be rest assured that this place is heavily secured. So have a wonderful meeting and deliberation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Judith. Did she tell us where the restroom are? Okay, just checking, right? All right. Without too much ado, I will call on the Abuja chapter coordinator in the person of Dr. Marion Shiru to come over and.
Thank you, AEIC. Our highly esteemed NUPRC president, Madame Olajumoke Cecilia Ajayi, FNAPE, Vice President, Mr. Emmanuel Ebele, President-elect, Mr. Tony Ofoma, and other respected members of the National ESCOs joining us virtually. Distinguished Chairman, our distinguished speaker, our sponsor, Mr. Abiodun-Ade. I'm not sure he's online. Please, can you get him to join, please? Fellows of NAPE,
Keep online.
Presidents, okay, members of the Abuja Chapter Executive Committee, distinguished professionals, young professionals, students, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. And it's my great pleasure to warmly welcome you all to today's July 2026 Abuja Chapter Technical Business Meeting. Whether you're joining us in Abuja live or you're from different part of the world and beyond, we are delighted to have you with us. In NAPE, one of our core objectives is to provide a platform where knowledge is shared, ideas are exchanged, and professionals at every stage of their careers can continue to learn from one another. Today's meeting is another demonstration of that commitment. I'd like to begin by expressing our sincere appreciation to Mr. Abiodun-Ade, FNAPE, for his generous sponsorship of today's technical meeting. He had sent him some of his best hands from Lagos to give us this interesting topic, and Mr. Adesonya has always been a friend of NAPE. I urge you all to always find a reason to attend our meetings and network. It will take you places. Thank you, Mr. Adesonya. I remember during my PhD, you were there for me. So please, let's make use of this NAPE networking moment. I would also like to specially appreciate our distinguished chairman, who has remained a steadfast friend and supporter of NAPE at large and Abuja chapter. Mr. Emmanuel Jaja, thank you for always being there for us. And we are truly grateful to your continued encouragement and commitment to the growth of NAPE and everyone. Today's presentation is both timely and highly relevant. The topic, from hazard to resource, sudden natural gas emissions and Cretaceous sedimentary basins and domestic energy utilization potential, Caritas University Enugu and Ijebu-Ode as case studies, invite us to rethink conventional perspectives by exploring how naturally occurring gas emissions, often regarded solely as environmental or safety concerns, can actually present opportunities for domestic energy utilizations. It is discussions like this that continue to expand our thinking, stimulate innovation, and contribute to sustainable resource development. Because we all want everybody here today to understand the basics of what actually went down in the case studies, we had gone out of our way to also invite Poseidon Energy Limited to join us because they were the ones that were contracted to put out the fire in one of the case studies. So we have the honor of the operations manager, Mr. Joseph Brown, to also give us a quick brief of the incident that happened in Enugu. I encourage everyone to make the most of this today's session. Listen attentively, take notes, keep all your questions, because we have very diligent professionals here today to answer all your queries. And I hope that we all have a constructive deliberation. Once again, thank you all for honoring our invitation and for your continuing commitment to professional excellence. It is now my distinct pleasure to invite our NUPRC Vice President, Mr. Emmanuel F. NUPRC, to deliver his opening remarks. He's joining us virtually. So please, can the media link him up? Thank you again.
Yeah, okay, good morning, everyone. Confirm you can hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. All right, so good morning, everyone who's participating in this technical and business meeting for July from our Abuja chapter. Of course, it's an honor for us to have distinguished individuals gather when we call for such an opportunity like this to exchange ideas and to continue to expand our scope, both, of course, in the area of geosciences and energy in general. Yeah, so first and foremost, I want to thank the Abuja chapter for putting up together this very, very important discussion that we can see, which seems a little bit unconventional from what we've had. I want to also recognize the presence, before I go ahead, of the sponsor. This is quite unique, Degeconek, who is, of course, headed the CEO, being a former president. I think we forgot to mention that. In fact, he was my president when I came into the executive of NUPRC over a decade ago, in the person of Mr. Abiodun Adesonya F. NUPRC. So he's a sponsor as well as a former president and quite an institutional figure in NUPRC. So I thank you so much for sponsoring this technical meeting. And also to thank the speaker, Dr. Chiedozie Vincent Ekowu, who's a geoscientist with Degeconek, for getting ready to deliver what I believe will be a very interesting paper that we are all going to benefit from. And also to thank our chairman for today, Mr. Emmanuel Jaja, Director of Subsurface Development of NUPRC. It is an honor to have you also chair this event. Our topic today, from hazard to resource, sudden natural gas emissions from Cretaceous sedimentary basins and domestic energy utilization potential, Caritas University in Enugu and Ijebu-Ode as case study. This is quite, of course, a mouthful. I believe, of course, from what this paper or this presentation should tell us is making something or converting what is supposedly an hazard to actually a natural resource, which would be for the benefit of us. So I also look forward to listening to this paper and seeing how well we can transform what is a hazard into an energy resource for the use of mankind. So I thank everyone for being here today. I want to also extend the good wishes of our president, Mrs. Olajumoke Ajayi, who is unavoidably absent today due to some other commitments. And of course, she sends her best regards. I also recognize other executive committee members in the room, including, of course, our Abuja chapter, the AEIC, and others who join in virtually. Thank you for coming in. Also, past presidents and fellows. I think online I can see Professor Mosto Onoha F. NUPRC, as well as Dr. Muiwa Olawoki. I think both of them, I can see them online. Thank you very much, sirs, for joining. Just like the Abuja chapter coordinator said, In NAPE, what we believe and what is one of our objective is to continue to have discussions of this nature where we continue to learn, where we continue to bring different angles, whereby we can continue to show how our ideas, which we always come up with, will help the country, of course, in finding oil, in finding gas, and in continuing to expand, the discussions about areas, that we as geoscientists would be able to contribute to national development. So, and this, of course, is being championed both at the central as well as all our regional chapters. And Abuja is, of course, no exception. And Abuja chapter is a very particularly resourceful and a very strong chapter in NAPE. And so we are not surprised, pulling in together individuals, getting us to have a discussion like this. So once again, on behalf of the president, the executive committee, and of course, all the members of NAPE, it's my honor to welcome us all and give these opening remarks as we go fully into today's deliberation. So I wish us all a very fruitful and useful deliberation at the end of this event today. Thank you so very much and have a good meeting.
Thank you so much. VP, thank you. Even though we didn't see your face, who knows what the VP looks like?
Oh, so sorry.
You just name.
So you'll see my face before the end of the meeting, please.
Okay,
thank you.
Good. So that when we see you on the street, we can say, "Oh, that's NAPE Vice President, Mr. Emmanuel Egbele F. NAPE." Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So there are other fellows online. Dr. Wilson Osong F. NAPE is also online. Thank you, Ambassador Erilo, Florida. You're always here for our technical meeting. Welcome. She's right here, okay? And Dr. Monsuro, I've seen you. Editorial board, we are online. Thank you for joining us. And then one more person. I want to say a little about Mr. Abiodun Adesanya, Degeconek. Some of these are people doing stuff in NAPE quietly. I've been privileged to serve as assistant editor-in-chief. And from inception, this Degeconek have been sponsoring virtual field trip. It's not small money. If that is only one activity a company will pick and be consistent about it, it's a major milestone. To the best of my knowledge, virtual field trip is metamorphosing into something huge. Currently, NAPE is building his website, is revamping it. All the resources that we've been gathering during the field trips, all those outcrops that are fast disappearing, have already been documented by virtue of going on this field trip in the last 6 years. And it's a huge database. The data are organic. They will be loaded with time as a virtual learning experience to the LMS, where geoscientists can go in there and learn. I don't want to say too much about it, but that's what Degeconek is doing behind the scene. Thank you, Mr. Adesanya F. NAPE online. And of course, Dozie, our speaker for today, we've been on a project with him last year on the Calabar flag. He knows what I'm talking about. So please, join this year virtual field trip. You'll be doing yourself a disservice, because this is what part of the things you get as being a member of NAPE. For free, for now. Okay? So please, we've already covered the entire Southern Basin. Niger Delta, Beta Basin, Mina, all name them, except going further up, not yet due to insecurity. But the intention is to cover all the basins, document them, is an in-depth thing. All right, I stop here. And I'm going to hand over back to the ACC so that she can introduce our chairman for today, and then all the members of the high table before we have a deep dive into today's presentation. And then I'll come back later.
Thank you, AEIC. You know we can't thank you enough. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is now my honor to introduce the chairman for today's technical meeting. Before inviting him to take over the proceedings for today, permit me to share a brief profile highlighting his remarkable professional journey and contributions to the industry. Mr. Emmanuel Benibo Jaja is a highly accomplished geologist and senior oil and gas professional with well over 25 years of progressive experience in regulatory oversight spanning exploration, subsurface and surface development, production data analysis, and executive leadership within Nigeria's upstream petroleum sector. He has held strategic leadership roles, including Director of Subsurface Development, that's his current role, Deputy Director, Crude Oil Allocation, Accounting and Surveillance, and Assistant Director/Manager, Gas Exploration and Development, where he has provided national level coordination and oversight of reserves management, field development planning, drilling operations, production allocation, curtailment, and petroleum surveillance. Mr. Emmanuel is renowned for his strong technical depth in geology, reservoir and resources management, oil and gas development, and production analytics, combined with proven strengths in policy implementation, project monitoring and evaluation, and multi-stakeholder coordination. A results-driven leader with global training exposure and active professional affiliations like the AAPG, NMGS, and of course, NUPRC. He also brings a holistic understanding of the oil and gas value chain, a passion for performance improvement, and a commitment to advancing sustainable and efficient resource development in Nigeria's energy industry. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in warmly welcoming our distinguished chairman as he takes over the proceedings of today's technical meeting. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, CC. I was going to ask, permit me to stand on existing protocol, but being my first time of being on this podium, I will crave your indulgence. Let me recognize some dignitaries. So, the NUPRC president, the vice president, Mr. Emmanuel, the president-elect, fellows here present, kindly permit me to skip given names. Then, the Abuja chapter coordinator and her executives, colleagues here present, and colleagues in the online community. It's my pleasure to be with you all here today. May I start by commending NUPRC, both executive and members, for keeping the flag flying. Our dear association has over the years been a very, very important platform for technical knowledge sharing. And I believe you all agree with me that this has gone a long way in adding value to our various inputs in our various organizations. So, I would not be doing justice to the executive by not specifically commending their efforts. And also, members, for keeping the faith with the association, for your continuous engagement, support in your different ways, presentations, financial, and even being present. It's very, 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 very well appreciated. So today, we're here again to share ideas that help us find oil. I want to specifically commend the sponsors of today's session, Degeconek. The founder and CEO, a lot has been said, so I won't bore us with saying it, but his contribution to the association cannot be overemphasized. Thank you very much for all of this work to NUPRC. Then to the agenda for today. Sorry, please, I lost my Okay, so today's topic, once in the gas hazard, gas emission across the country, too numerous to mention. And generally, we see all of these as hazards. However, it's important to let the generality of the public know that this supposed hazard can be converted to create value for country, investors, and all stakeholders involved. And that's why we're here today. That makes the topic of our discussion very apt. From hazard to resource, sudden natural gas emission from Cretaceous Sedimentary Basin and domestic energy utilization potential, using the Caritas University in Enugu and Ijebu-Ode incidences as case study. So real quick, I'll give a brief profile of our speaker today and invite him to take the show. Chiedozie Vincent Ekowu is a senior petroleum geologist with over 6 years of cognate experience in the upstream oil and gas sector. His expertise spans seismic interpretation, reservoir characterization, petrophysical evaluation, geomodeling, well prognosis, maturation, and field development planning. Through his career, he has worked with multidisciplinary team. He has worked much in integrating geological, geophysical data sets to support hydrocarbon exploration. Currently, he is working with Degeconek, our sponsor for today's session, as a geoscientist, where he has contributed to numerous asset evaluation projects and reservoir characterizations. Prior to joining his present employer, Chiedozie worked as a geoscience software trainer, providing professional training in petrol software and advanced seismic interpretation. He also worked as a geological consultant with Awakaris Greenwald Industries Limited, where he specialized in aeromagnetic data processing, interpretation, and mineral exploration. Chiedozie holds a Doctor of Philosophy in Petroleum Geophysics from University of Calabar. Very well read and very well experienced in the short span of his cognate experience. He has also authored and co-authored several technical presentations and papers for conference presentations covering geosciences, reservoir evaluation, aeromagnetic interpretation. His publication reflects a commitment to advancing scientific knowledge while developing practical solutions to complex subsurface challenges facing the industry and helping us keep, 'the, the, 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 the He's an active member in, of course, NAPE, AAPG, NMGS, and the Society of Exploration Geophysicists, where he contributes his learning, he learns from, to create value for his employer and country. He is driven by scientific excellence and technological innovation. Chiedozie continues to contribute to the advancement of petroleum geoscience through applied research, integration of multidisciplinary approaches for efficient hydrocarbon exploration. Ladies and gentlemen, join me to welcome our speaker for today, Chiedozie Vincent Ekowu.
Dignitaries on the high table so that we have a review after the session. So may I please, starting with the chairman, you take the lead? Yeah, to the high table. Madam Erile, Florida, please, can you join him? Dr. Akpan, can you please join him? Yeah. Thank you. Just so that you know, our president-elect is also online. He'll be coming later to also say a word to us. All right? Dr. Anthony Ofoma, FNAPI. Thank you, sir. Over to you.
Thank you, NAPE Abuja chapter, for creating this enabling environment for Degeconek to come and make this wonderful presentation. All right. Thank you very much. I'm delighted to be here to make this wonderful presentation. And thank you, Degeconek, for allowing me to come and discuss this topic with you people. I'm so happy, and I believe all of us will be so happy after this presentation. And this is how the outline of the presentation will go. Introduction, gas emission in Enugu State, gas emission in Ijebu-Ode, Ogun State, tectonic events within the southwestern Nigeria, gas utilization potentials, and conclusion and recommendation. This is actually a homegrown initiative based on southern gas emission within part of our Cretaceous Sedimentary Basins in Nigeria. In Enugu, part of Anambra Basin. In Ijebu-Ode, part of Dahomey Basin. As such, the research team in our office decided to take a dive into the Cretaceous Sedimentary Basins to ascertain what it holds, understand the possible causes of this gas emission, and also how these gases can be explored for potential utilization. Or perhaps, is the Earth trying to pass a message to us, which we can listen by paying apt attention to through the Center of Geodesy and Geodynamics, by then constantly monitoring their seismic stations to understand if there is any seismic events that may be happening, which may be a pointer to earth tremor occurrence. Therefore, this presentation is to spur up or to open up a further discussion or further deliberation on these two areas: tectonic activities within the southwestern Nigeria and the possibility of exploring the gas within our Cretaceous sedimentary basins. Imagine you as a student or an occupant of an estate. You are told that you are going to have water because people lack water. That contractors have been giving money to come and sink a borehole. But unfortunately, rather than seeing water coming from the borehole, what you saw was gas flow, which eventually turned into a blaze of fire. I know you'll be so troubled, you'll be so perturbed, and you'll be thrown into a state of apprehension. Or perhaps you sent your children to school to go and learn. Rather than them learning, or you getting information that children are learning, the information you got was that your children has been rushed to the hospital because of certain gas they inhaled. I know, as a parent, even if you are eating eba and you have put a ball of eba in your mouth, you cannot swallow it before rushing to the hospital to understand why your children were rushed to the hospital. This incident I mentioned, the first one happened in Enugu, and the second one happened in Ijebu-Ode. Whereas the one that happened in Enugu actually was caused by man-made activity through borehole drilling. But the one that happened in Ijebu-Ode was naturally occurrence. Therefore, through this presentation, I'm going to dive into where this occurred, the possible way this emission occurred, and how this gas can be explored for our own domestic utilization. All right. The first case we are going to talk about is one that happened in Enugu. Now, yes, it is true we mentioned Caritas University as our case study, but in Enugu, we are going to discuss two places at different times where this gas emission occurred. So the first case we are going to discuss is in Caritas University. The first figure you see there shows all right. This is Caritas University. It is located in Amoginike in Enugu State. You know, a contractor was paid to come and drill a borehole, and after the geophysical survey, he went to go for a depth of 400 meters, targeting an aquifer at a depth of 350 meters. But unfortunately, at depth of 200 meters, a gas cap was punctured. This thing happened on 22nd of May, 2022. Now, when this incident happened, you know, the community were thrown into a state of panic. And initially, they thought that there was an underlying gas cap. But when NUPRC, NAPE, NMGS, and those contractors were contacted, or the agency were contracted, it was made to understand that there was no underlying gas cap. What it means is that what was actually punctured was a gas reservoir. The first figure is when the gas reservoir was punctured and they were pulling out their equipment. And the second figure there, I can see there, shows the gas flow, which was estimated to be about 10 meters. And the second figure you are seeing there is the blaze of fire. You know, it's not really ascertained how the fire came about, but one of the reports actually claimed that one of the persons who was part of the drilling team after perceiving the gas, we had to confirm it if it was gas, lit a fire, and that is how it happened. Now, this gas flow actually polluted the environment, as you can see. Smoke and filled everywhere, which was even detected from the satellite image. Now, the second case study happened in federal housing estates in Degeconek in Enugu State. The same way, a contractor was given money to drill a borehole, and a gas cap was punctured. Now, in this case, they didn't tell us, they didn't document the depth the gas cap was punctured, we are gotten, but unfortunately, a blaze of fire was seen. Now, this one happened on 28th of October, 2023. That was a year and some months after the first incident happened. Now, what this shows actually is that Enugu State is sitting on a gas reservoir. That's what this thing shows. Now, we decided to georeference where this incident occurred. On the far, by my far left there is the one at Caritas University, and here is the one at the housing estate. And you can see that the distance apart is about 6.3 kilometers. If you can correlate this gas reservoir across, what it means is that Enugu State is sitting on a huge gas reservoir. If they are correlatable, that's what it means. Now, unfortunately, there was a report on the geochemical analysis on the composition and origin of this gas to show if it is thermogenic or biogenic in origin. But the geology of Anambra State holds a strong evidence that this gas actually existed. For instance, the work of Dean et al., 2007, actually shows, he correlated a well at Ibariam 001. The well is Ibariam 001. He correlated it with some lithologists in Anambra State. And he found out that the Mamu formation of Anambra State holds a strong source rock, mature source rock, which is where there was pointed to be the source of that gas occupied in those Amogunike and in Degeconek. Now, I made us understand that this incident in Enugu State was actually caused by man-made activities through the drilling of borehole. Now, we are going to see that of Ijebu-Ode, which was caused naturally. On the April 1st, 2026, at Our Lady of Apostles Secondary School, students went there to study as usual during school hour, and they started inhaling certain gas. I didn't even know where it came from. Initially, they thought that the gods of their land is not angry with them. And dozens of students and staff were actually rushed to the hospital. The following month, on the May 15, 2026, similar thing happened again. But this time around, Our Lady of Apostles Secondary School, Anglican Girls Grammar School, and Titila Agbaje Comprehensive High School, this stuff happened there again. They perceived the gas, and as usual, they were rushed to the hospital. On June, just last month, 28th and to 29th, similar thing happened again. And they started asking questions. Where could this gas come from? Now, these are the places where it happened. The first one is Our Lady of Apostles Secondary School in Ijebu-Ode. The second one is Anglican Girls Grammar School, and these are the students when they were rushed to the hospital for treatment. Yes, there was no incident of any death or anything that occurred actually, but it's actually a very traumatized event or situation. Now, what could be the possible cause of this Ijebu-Ode gas emission? Report from the Commissioner of Environment, after consulting the geologists in the environment, pointed out that the gas must have leaked from or emitted from the Ifewara fracture zone, Ifewara fracture zone system in that place. That's where the gas emitted from. Now, since they mentioned Ifewara fault zone there, our research team felt there is need for us to look at the dynamic history of the Earth, because this Ifewara fault system has a relationship with an oceanic fault system called a chain fracture zone. Therefore, there is need for us to even understand the dynamic history of the Earth to know if there is any seismic or any tectonic activity that may be going on. Because for gas to emit from a fault, what it actually shows is that there is a possibility of either stress relief or fault reactivation. And for this to occur, it shows that there is an accumulated stress or tectonic activity going on there, which actually was released via this gas emission. Therefore, in looking at the dynamic history of the Earth, which is the evolution and continual movement of the Earth through geologic time, the first figure here shows how the Bullard in 1985 used computer to fit in how the Earth lithosphere looked like before rifting started. And the second figure there shows the process of rifting. Now, the rifting started from the late Jurassic, but actually the breakup happened in mid-Cretaceous at the ancient time. So this is the process of rifting, convection current, the collapsed crustal structure, the formation of host and graben structure, the block faulting, formation of oceanic lithosphere, and continental drifting. These are the process of rifting, actually. Now, we also look at the Cretaceous paleogeography of the South Atlantic, showing how the Earth got separated over time. So the first one there is the Heterovian time, or the lower Cretaceous. This shows that at this point, though the rifting have initiated, but there is no breakup. And the second one is the ancient time, when the breakup started. And what it means is that from this time till today, there is still separation and formation of new oceanic lithosphere is still going on as we speak. Now, since Ijebu-Ode is located in Dahomey Basin, there is need for us to look at the Gulf Coast province, because they are located along this Gulf Coast province together with the Keta Basin, the Benin Basin, the Africa Coast Basin down there. Now, why did we look at this? The Ifewara fault system is a strike-slip fault. And these basins here have a similar structural and stratigraphic characteristics in that they show they are range-modified basins. What it means is, apart from a separation, apart from suffering from extensional tectonics, there is also a strike-slip movement along this place. And we're talking about Ifewara being a strike-slip type of fault. Now, this figure also shows what I'm talking about. See, the big arrow shows the extensional movement, and the small arrow there showing the strike-slip movements that occur within this basin. Now, we also look at the morphological structure of the mid-oceanic ridge. We know that the oceanic lithosphere is bedded at the oceanic ridge and there at the trench. But this oceanic ridge is not really a straight line stuff. They are segmented by transform faults. And the transform fault connects the continental margin to the mid-oceanic ridge through an oceanic fracture zone. This transform fault is seismically active because it involves lithosphere moving past each other, a slight slip movement. But the oceanic fracture zone is considered to be seismically inactive because it involves oceanic plate moving in the same direction. But then, this one shows us the oceanic fracture zones that we know have the chain fracture zone, the ascension fracture zone, the Charcot fracture zone, the Romance fracture zone, St. Paul fracture zone, and Guinea fracture zone, and all that. But our interest in this discussion today is the chain fracture zone. Now, this figure shows the oceanic ridge being segmented by a transform fault and oceanic fracture zone. Figure A and figure B shows oceanic lithosphere moving in the same direction. Now, I want us to pay attention. In as much as these plates or this oceanic lithosphere move in the same direction, the reason it was considered to be seismically inactive, there is seismic activity going on there. Why? Because if you notice from the diagram, the oceanic lithosphere A and oceanic lithosphere B, A is older based on distance travel than oceanic lithosphere B. And because it is older, it is cooler, it is thicker, and it is denser, meaning that there is a sinking event going on there. And that sinking activity creates a vertical movement, which in turn creates a seismic activity within this place. Meaning that the idea that oceanic fracture zones are seismically inactive are not really 100% correct. There is a seismic activity going on in our oceanic fracture zones. And this thing has been felt in some places in Ghana, in Cameroon, in Guinea, as we see in the next slide. Frank Teto and Lapicon, 1972, identified the link between the tremor-prone aquapine fault around Accra, Ghana, with a Romanche fracture zone. Bouquet, in his 1969 paper, identified a seismic activity around Krebi in Cameroon, and considered it as a landward extension or continuation of the Ascension fracture zone. Then Kogbe and Delbos, 1984, they showed there is a devastating earthquake that occurred in Guinea on 23rd December 1983. And they showed that what caused this earthquake is linked to the landward extension of the Guinea fracture zone. Now, if these countries I mentioned now, they are on the same flank of Atlantic with Nigeria, it means that there are possibility of minor earthquake happening in Nigeria. Now, Ofonime and Tai, 2010, did a study of where earthquake or minor earthquake have happened in Nigeria. But for the sake of this presentation, my interest here is on the one that they pointed Ijebu-Ode as the epicenter of the earthquake. In 1963, or 21st December 1963, around 8:30 p.m. or 6:30 p.m. rather, at Ijebu-Ode, an earthquake was felt there with intensity of 5, and the epicenter was close to Ijebu-Ode. On July 28, 1984, around 12:10 p.m., Ijebu-Ode, Ibadan, Shagamu, and Abeokuta experienced minor tremor. And the intensity was 6. And the probable epicenter was close to Ijebu-Ode. The same 1984, on August 2nd, around 10:20 a.m., Ijebu-Ode, Ijebu-Remo, Ibadan, Oyo, Shagamu, and Abeokuta experienced a tremor with an intensity of 5, and the epicenter was close to Ijebu-Ode. Then in 1990, June 27th, and Ibadan, a tremor was experienced there, and epicenter close to Ijebu-Ode. And today, we are talking about gas emission in Ijebu-Ode. What does it point to? We referenced where this gas emitted, the schools where they emitted, to see how they are distributed. And you can see perfectly on our diagram, on our figure here, that where this gas emitted is parallel to the contact between the basement complex and the Dahomey Basin, but orthogonal to the Ifewara fracture zone system. Because Ifewara fracture zone system is in south-southwest direction. But where the gas emitted, the direction is orthogonal to it, but parallel to the contact between the basement complex and Dahomey Basin. But this is actually shows, for the fact that this gas emitted, and it is natural, shows that there are possibility of earth tremor being happening or looming, because this is actually a stress relief or fault reactivation. And as such, the Center for Geodesy and Geodynamics need to constantly check the seismic activity within this place to find out what is really happening. Because even where earthquakes are occurring, that what we will call the foreshock before the main shock, let it not be that what we have experienced now is actually a foreshock. We don't know. They are the ones to tell us. Now, we've talked about gas emission, the hazard, the possibility of tremor occurrence. Now, let us look at how can this gas we are talking about be utilized for our own domestic potentials or domestic purposes. Based on NUPRC, that the current gas reserve in Nigeria is about 215 trillion cubic feet of gas. And the contained resource is way more than 600 trillion cubic feet. Now, it will interest us to know that this gas you are seeing here, this reserve you are seeing here, they were not intentionally discovered. They were accidentally discovered when the course of search for oil. Now the question is, what will the gas reserve be if we intentionally start searching for gas? Now we're talking about emission of gas from our Cretaceous sedimentary basins. If we start searching for gas from our Cretaceous sedimentary basins, what it means is that we'll discover that Nigeria has a lot of potentials which we can use to fix our domestic purposes. Now, we decide to say, okay, fine, in Africa, let us see the rank of Nigeria when it comes, countries when it comes to gas reserve. And what we find out was that Nigeria ranked first in terms of gas reserve. But when it comes to the gas production and utilization, Nigeria is really behind Algeria and Egypt. Now the question is, why is there a gap between availability of this gas and utilization of this gas? And because of that, now on May 28th, 2021, federal government launched a Decade of Gas Initiative program, and the idea was to transform Nigeria into gas-powered economy and Africa gas powerhouse by 2030, talking about 4 years to come. On November the same year, 2021, the then President General Muhammad Buhari, in the climate change conference held in Glasgow, committed that Nigeria will be emitting net zero CO2 in the atmosphere. Now, the truth is this. When this statement was made, the idea was to move from fossil fuel to renewable energy, because it's only renewable energy that can give us net zero gas emission, net zero CO2 emission. But the big question is, can it be achievable? Considering the fact that more than 63% of Nigeria suffer from multidimensional poverty. So this cannot be achievable. And because of this, the following year, on August 2022, an energy transition plan was constituted, headed by the then Vice President, Professor Yemi Banjo. Now, the idea is this. Since Nigeria suffers from multidimensional poverty, which can make it difficult for us to achieve this net zero gas emission by 2060, and we know full well that natural gas, in terms of gas CO2 emission, contribute less in terms of percentage than the gasoline or diesel. Why can't we use natural gas as a transition fuel towards achieving this net zero gas emission? And that was the idea they brought up. Secondly, due to the versatility of natural gas, it can be a key to solving the energy poverty issue. You see, so many Nigerians cannot achieve an affordable or afford reliable or modern energy, but natural gas can help in solving that problem. Now, how can this be possible? You see, at this point, investors need to key into this opportunity. We are talking about gas emission from our Cretaceous sedimentary basins. And the good thing with this gas is that it is non-associated gas. Unlike the ones that are called in Niger Delta, part of Niger Delta, because those ones are associated gas. Non-associated gas is very easy to process. It's not as complex as associated gas. So the investors need to key in and grab this opportunity by collaborating with the government to go into what we call the gas to energy project. It is an integrated value chain that will explore the natural gas from the reservoir, process it, transport it through pipeline, and utilize it for power generation and industrial applications. So we urge investors to key into this opportunity by trying as much as they can to harness this gas. Now, the first figure there is a preliminary artistic impression of a natural gas plant, okay, where the gas can be harnessed, processed, and transported for distribution, for use, for our rural electrification. And as you can see, Taiwo and her mom, we are so happy because for the first time, Taiwo have seen light in her house. Instead of plaiting her hair the daytime that she would have used to do other business, they chose night because there is already light in their house. Or perhaps the second figure there shows Nkiru, a village girl who has always relied on charcoal or firewood or kerosene to cook her food, can now get an affordable and clean energy for cooking her food. The problem with using charcoal or firewood is that it emits carbon monoxide, which is dangerous to our respiratory system. So, but using gas provide a very clean energy because, as you can see, it produces a blue flame which shows a complete combustion. Now, industrial utilization. Apart from rural electrification and for cooking, natural gas can also be a feedstock for or raw material for some of our industries. For instance, in cement industry, natural gas acts as a fuel. If you want to produce a clinker, and a clinker is when you burn limestone clay with some other raw material at a temperature of about maybe 1450 degrees Celsius. It turns into a clinker that can be used to produce cement. It's a primary ingredient for cement production. Natural gas can produce that heat for that heat. And since we're talking about natural gas in our Cretaceous sedimentary basins, and of which they are unassociated gas, what it means is that processing it is affordable, and acquiring it for cement production will also be affordable. And if the gas for producing this clinker is affordable, what it means is that the price of cement is going to drop. Also, in fertilizer production, urea fertilizer requires ammonia. And ammonia is gotten from, as what we call a steam methane reformer. It's a way of extracting the hydrogen from methane. And the methane is just CH4. You can extract hydrogen from methane, combine this hydrogen with atmospheric nitrogen to produce our ammonia. And ammonia is an ingredient for producing urea fertilizer. Even the ammonium nitrate fertilizer the ammonium sulfate fertilizer. So this is like a win-win thing for us. The investors will be happy because there is a place where they can send in their products. The village people are happy because if eventually this company comes in, they'll be able to get job. And the government will be happy because the economy is booming. Therefore, it's an opportunity for our investors to go in and explore this gas in our Cretaceous Sedimentary Basin for own domestic use. Also, in our steel production, the natural gas and the methane, they serve as a reducing agent. They'll remove oxygen from our iron oxide, okay, which can also cannot be used to produce our steel. So, this natural gas occurring in our Cretaceous Sedimentary Basin is something I will urge the investors to please go in and harvest because it's important for our own domestic use. And the end point is there will be a massive job creation and a strong economic development. In conclusion, I made us understand that this discussion is, or this presentation is to open up for further research, or further discussion, further deliberation on these two areas. One is the tectonic event within our southwestern Nigeria, and the second one is the possibility of exploring this natural gas within our Cretaceous Sedimentary Basin. As such, the recommendation, yes, it is true that natural gas can help solve our energy poverty issue. But see, if adequate energy security measure is not put in place, it will be an effort in futility. And how do I mean by that? This natural gas. But the question is, what is the quantity of this natural gas? We don't know. Therefore, I recommend that first, there should be a geological or geophysical or geochemical survey to ascertain the quantity of this natural gas within our Cretaceous Sedimentary Basin. And if this is ascertained, there is need to access this gas. Therefore, the government should collaborate, or the contractor should collaborate with the government to provide infrastructures that can help explore this gas, process this gas, and transport them for the end users. If they can't transport this gas to the end users, it won't make sense at all. There's need for a collaboration to happen. And thirdly, even if there is an investor who wants to invest and companies want to use this natural gas as a raw material, but they cannot afford it, it will also be a problem. Therefore, the government should try as much as they can to see that this gas is affordable. Both the contractors, so that they can go in and explore, the companies that will buy the gas from the contractors, and the end users are mothers in the village. They should be able to afford this gas to use in their homes. Then lastly, the Center for Geodesy and Geodynamics should constantly monitor their seismological stations located across the country, especially those within our southwestern Nigeria. This area is where we neglect most time because we believe that because the continental margin of Africa is regarded as passive continental margin, there is no issue of tremor occurrences. But with what we have explained now, it is obvious that there's need for us to constantly monitor our seismological stations because there may be a possibility of tremor occurring in the future. Well, I'll stop here, but I'm so happy that NUPRC Abuja chapter gave me this opportunity to come and make these presentations. I thank you very, very much. And I also thank Degeconek for allowing me to come and make this presentation, and Degeconek team to creating a platform through which we get this in discourse in the office, and me coming here to make this presentation. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you, Chiedozie. Well done. Well, you could take a seat for a moment while I hand over the microphone to the chairman for a review. Yes, please. Or if you want to sit on the seat, that's fine. You want to use the podium? Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Stan Ejilai Chief. You'll agree with me that is quite a loaded presentation and very incisive, bringing attention of all stakeholders to the happenings in the country with regards to the frequent gas emission in potential hydrocarbon bearing zones, and bringing to people's consciousness that this is not the gods fighting them, like the earlier belief in the Ijebu-Ode case. So real quick, I'll just take you through Chiedozie's presentation, just as a recap. Sorry. Apologies, we skipped a part on the agenda. Like the ACC said earlier, the contractor that put the fire under control on the Caritas University case is on this call. She reached out to them to share their own experience for further learning. So I'll yield the floor to them. They're online. I'll yield the floor to them to take us through the experience, and then we'll move with the rest of the program. So Mr. Brown Joseph from Poseidon, that's the indigenous company that put the incident under control, is with us now, and he'll be taking the floor for his brief presentation. Thank you.
And welcome to this presentation from Poseidon Energy. Confirm you can hear us from this
loud and clear
end.
I guess from this end we can hear you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Okay, so my name is Joseph Brown, as was rightly introduced, the operations manager for Poseidon Energy Services Nigeria Limited. Poseidon Services is purely indigenous, located in Port Harcourt. And so we render well service activities to the upstream industry of the oil and gas. And one of our core responsibility is to provide solutions to well crisis. So well crisis is one of our product lines. And so when this particular case came from the Caritas University, it was a challenge to us. And as an indigenous company, we had to provide a solution. So I would like to share my screen so that we just take it briefly on what we did to extinguish the fire. I'm sharing my screen now. Confirm you can see my screen. confirm you can see my screen, please.
Yes, we can see you.
Yes, please, we can.
Okay, so well-controlled program to extinguish fire caused by sudden gas emission from a water well. The presenter did an excellent job in giving us an insight to what actually led to the problem. And so the problem was there, real and live. And so it was left for the service company to provide solution to the problem. And so when this problem came to our table, we considered two options. Which is what is displayed there, the strategy that we used to put off the fire. And now it is well known that the actual cause of this fire was something that was let loose from the formation. That's the gas that was let loose from the formation, and it got to the surface, and something and it was ignited. The flammable gas was ignited, and the gas came up with this strategy to put off the light. Number one, we considered a well kill option. Normally, if it is an oil well, if there is a problem or there is a crisis and the well need to be killed, a high density fluid will be pumped into the formation. The density fluid will be like up to 10 ppg. We know the density of the ordinary water is about 8.3 ppg. And so the formation fluid is even lighter than that. But if you are able to inject a high density fluid of 10 ppg or above into the formation, what you will end up doing is to suppress the formation pressure. And then if you suppress,
we can hear you. We can hear
pressure, then the fluid will not have its way up to the surface, naturally extinguish. The number that leads to fire must be fuel, there must be oxygen. Come back. Can somebody not hear me again, please? Okay, use this one. Can you hear me, please?
I can hear you, but before you were kind of breaking off intermittent.
Okay. I've changed my network now to another one. So confirm you can hear me now, please.
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay. Yes, we have audio online.
Yeah, sorry for that mix-up. I had to change my screen now to another network. So,
okay, not a problem.
Okay. So what I was saying, if you did not hear me very well, was that we use the strategy of a well kill method and suffocation of the fire. So for the well kill method, it's just for you to be able to dump a fluid that is denser than the formation fluid. And in this case, we considered the use of sodium chloride. Sodium chloride is industrial salt, and we mix it with water until we get the density up to 10.6 or above that. And then we find a means of injecting it into the formation with the objective of reducing the formation pressure. That was number one method. Then number two method, we considered the suffocation method. Normally, if a fire is burning, simple chemistry teaches us that there are three elements that makes up a fire. That there must be fuel, there must be oxygen, and then there must be source of heat. And so in this case, if we also consider that if we are able to take out one of these components, then naturally the fire will be put off. And then we went out with this design into the field. And the next slide, please. The next slide will show us what we did. And so this is the simple illustration of what we did in the field to put off the fire. Now, we located a stream very close to the fire point, which we use our lift pump to get water into our lift water tank. About 500 barrels of water was needed for this operation. And we need to mix the salt, the sodium chloride, to 10.6 ppg using a chemical blender. And that particular mixture needs to be injected into the formation to reduce the formation pressure. But the challenge we had here is that this was not a conventional well. The well was not completed. And so it was difficult to get the hole itself to dump the 10 ppg sodium chloride. But however, with the use of a high pressure pump, we directed the fluid to the hole where the fire was coming from. So you can see the red line there from the high pressure pump is directed to the wellhead. And initially, we were just blasting directly without a means of hanging it over horizontally. But we now realize that it was not doing any much, it was not giving us what we needed. So what we needed to do was to get a telescopic crane. We got a crane, and then we rigged up the high pressure line using the crane, suspended it horizontally on the fire. And then that was the use of the high pressure jet. And then we also rigged up a conical cap with the crane, so that as we are injecting the brine into the well, we will also use the conical cap to cover the fire, which is the second method, the suffocation method. So these two activities went on at the same time. As we are dumping the high density fluid into the well, we are also attempting to cover the fire, thereby suffocating it. And we did this all day from morning till night. By 6 o'clock, we had to close. Invariably, we had dumped over 300 to 400 barrels of the high density fluid into directly on where the fire was burning. And it was seeping slowly into the well. And with the principle of suffocation also, the fire was gradually going out.
Hello, Joseph, can you hear me? Hello, Joseph.
We can just go on.
Okay, apologies, we'll have to move on with the next item on our agenda, but I guess we took a quick learning from what the President did to put the fire under control. So real quick, I'll just give us a brief rundown of the presentation Chiedozie just had. Like I said earlier, is to bring to the consciousness of all of the stakeholder, government, industry players, general public, and potential investors. We have resources. These persistent gas emission resources that can be channeled to stimulate the economy. He first started by asking a question.
Recording in
progress. Asks if the Earth is passing a message with all these recurrent incidences. And told us upfront this presentation is to stimulate discussion on potential tectonic activities around the Dahomey Basin, and of course, gas utilization. He now went further to talk about his case studies. He started first off with the 2 incidences in Enugu State, which is the Caritas University in May 2022, and happened when a borehole, a water borehole that has a total depth of 400 meters was being drilled, and at 200 meters encountered pressurized gas zone. do we imagine would happen if we had a gas-centric exploration, stating that the country's gas reserves in excess of around 600 trillion cubic feet of gas? He reminded us that our production to reserves ratio is suboptimal because reserve in Africa were number one in terms of gas reserves. However, when it comes to production, we're number 3, I think. That's what he said, behind 2 other countries. So there is gas. chemical, geological, and all of the necessary studies. Already matured, and we've known we have these resources in huge volume. When there is no infrastructure to evacuate them, then they become stranded resource. So he advised the need for the government and interested players to invest also massively in infrastructure. And finally, we talked about the
That's where we have the chairman and the other people on the panel to help to chip in. All right, the first person. You tell us your name, your affiliation, and then straight to the question. Please, no introduction. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jaja from the University of Abuja, 300 level geologist. I have two straight to the point questions, actually.
Give it to us.
Okay. My first question is regarding environmental and safety. It goes, since Enugu, in your presentation earlier, you said Enugu sits mainly on a gas reservoir. So, and this happened some years back. And regarding to the future, what monitoring systems are recommended for such communities in affected areas for future references? And then my second question is regarding energy utilization. In these areas where gas here is, the volume of natural gas is a lot, is mini LNG or CNG production feasible in these locations? Considering the volume of natural gas emission observed, is the gas flow sufficient to justify mini LNG and or CNG production for domestic energy use for future times? Thank you.
All right, thank you. We'll take the three questions before he responds, please. Next. Name, affiliation, question.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Elera from Nostra. So I have two questions. You emphasized the use of natural gas for cooking, electricity generation, and industrial applications. So given Nigeria's ongoing investment in CNG as a transition fuel for transportation, do you see naturally occurring gas resources playing a role in supporting the transport sector, or should they be prioritized for stationary energy applications such as power generation and industry? Then the second question, beyond demonstrating the technical feasibility of converting this gas emission into useful energy, what do you see as the biggest technological, regulatory, or economic barriers to, deploying this approach at scale in Nigeria?
So that's like 4 questions already. I will take the third one. So they are so smart. They just bundle everything together. Okay, the next person.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Durujaye Jeremiah Koladi and a student, 300 level of the University of Abuja. Firstly, I'd like to thank you for this insight. And in one, which has random motion. And this begs to raise the question, what technology will be put in place during production to optimize the exploitation while containing the gas as in a bid to reduce the risk associated with venting, thereby reducing the environmental risk? Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. I want to start with your own question. Talked about the environmental measures that have been put in place in Enugu State to cover off future occurrences in it. As we speak, Enugu State have stopped the drilling of water in Enugu State without prior notification of the government. So before you go into borehole drilling right now in Enugu State, the government must approve that before you do it. So to ensure that where you are drilling is nowhere you can encounter gas accumulation. Okay. For second question about CNG, whether it can be sited there, right, or can be produced, yes, it can, very, very well. That's even the essence of this presentation, actually, for investors to go in there, harness this gas, process it for use, okay, for industrial application, for cooking, and for every other thing. Their own question talked about if the gas can be used for automobile. Sorry if I mistake the question, I don't know. Yes, it can, very, very well. Okay. Yes, actually, what I brought up is just few examples. That's why I say it's open up for further discussion. Okay, yes, it can. That definitely. I didn't put up so many examples where gas can be applied. I didn't put them up. Okay. Then the second question, please, can you?
Beyond demonstrating the technical feasibility of converting this gas emission into useful energy, right? What do you see as the biggest technological, regulatory, or economic barriers to deploying this approach in Nigeria?
Well, like I said, the government need to regulate all those things. Yes, it is the government. It is the government to regulate. Yes, that's what I feel. Okay. But it is the duty of the government to regulate the use of that. Okay.
I don't know if you can hear me.
Though, yes, the investors need to go in there to invest, but if the government didn't put a regulatory measure, I don't think it can be achievable.
I will take some questions online. Yes, so there are a lot of questions online. So we'll do justice before I come back into the room with the permission of the chairman. Okay? Thank you for your wonderful presentation. Coal seams having very varying depth, thickness, and continuity. this can make drilling production design difficult. How do we resolve it so that it will not make investment uncertainty? This is from Abolaji Oluke. Coal seams have varying depth, thickness, and continuity. This can make drilling production design difficult. How do you resolve it so that it will make investment uncertainty more reasonable, right?
Well, all these things has to do with carrying out your geophysical and geological survey in that area. If adequate geophysical and geological survey is carried out, you definitely understand the thickness of this coal seam and the depth of this coal seam. With that, any method which we can use to drill that can be applied. If you don't understand the thickness and the depth of this, I don't think you'll be able to design a proper way of drilling for this set of gas.
Okay, this you answered this in a way. What is the distance between the affected schools and the State General Hospital? I think there was a time you were trying to do a
affected school and this. No, what I mentioned is between Caritas University and Degeconek in Enugu State. That's what I mentioned. But for the affected school, this one occurred is a natural occurrence. Okay, and I mentioned the areas where they occurred, which we reference on the Army Basin to ascertain the line of occurrence, or if actually they are parallel to the Ifera Zungeru Fault Zone or orthogonal to it and parallel to the contact between the basement complex and the Army Basin.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, there's another question here. I would like to have a good response to my question on the mineral gas. And the question is there any validity to calling this gas a mineral gas, given the fact that it isn't coming from a petroleum reservoir?
Gas is a petroleum. Gas is a petroleum. So that's answered the question.
Okay. I'm going to give either Dr. Akpam or Chairman to make further comment, or Madame.
Okay, I'll just quickly support him with this question, then I'll go back to the first online question. He asked, is it possible, can you repeat the question, please?
Is there any validity to calling this a gas, mineral gas, given the fact that it isn't coming from a petroleum reservoir?
Okay, yeah, very, very germane question. Because we have incidents of migration from known reservoirs, and this migration can go hundreds of kilometers and then find its way to the surface. So when you have incidents like that, the first thing you want to check is it within a known hydrocarbon acreage? That is a block. If not, then there's need to carry out, like he said, studies, subsurface studies, where you trace, first and foremost, you try to image the movement, the migration back to the source. If it is traced to a reservoir, if it is traced to a coal bed, or whatever the trace is, and you now, to be double sure, you carry out fingerprinting to the exact source. When you get the exact source, then you take it from there. However, some of this emission might not be at the point of emission to the surface, might not be close to a reservoir where you can commercialize. Then the other one that talked about issues around gas, shallow, yes. I think before you drill, it's important when you know you're in a high gas province, or you've experienced that, to carry out what is called shallow gas hazard survey. So you know your hot spots, and then you can plan your well optimally to avoid those spots. Yeah. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Interestingly, the Ijebu-Ode gas experience happened. I'm from Ijebu-Ode, ironically, incidentally. And I would like to point out that Mr. Abiodun Adesanya, his hometown is not too far from Odogbolu to Ijebu-Ode. I can see why he picked interest in this topic. That's quite patriotic of him as an Ijebu man and as a Nigerian. When that incident happened on the 1st of April, and I was called in the evening, I thought it was an April Fool thing because it was April 1st. So there were so much panic because my family compound is not too far from Our Lady of Apostles. So they felt because I'm in the oil and gas, I'm in Abuja, I'm very close to NUPRC, I should be able to do something. So what I did, the governor of Ogun State, Dr. Dapo Abiodun, is an oil man. He's into downstream business. So he understands all the intricacies of So he promised that he was going to look into it. And after a few weeks, I found out that a panel was set up to look into it. And at the same time, he set up a panel to look at a very massive research into areas where such occurrence or reoccurrence might happen. And I pointed to him that the advantages and the disadvantages, because he can actually utilize the gas, just as Degeconek, graciously presented the uses of all this gas that you think is a curse, but it's a blessing. So I'm so glad that Degeconek picked up the baton to do this incident report, and I can assure you that, as promised by the governor of Ogun State, all things being equal, he has another 1 year to go. They will make use of the gas and make sure that possible reoccurrence doesn't happen. That's my own contribution. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ampam, please make it 1 minute. Our time is fast.
Thank you very much. I'll try as much as possible to stick to 1 minute. Okay. I don't really think I have much to add to what the chairman and my sister here have said. But I want to emphasize the fact that we have a new scenario playing out. Hitherto, we were having cases of finding gas accidentally in the process of exploring for oil. Now we have a new scenario whereby in the process of looking for water, we come to meet gas. I have 1 minute. Let me quickly commend Dr. Chiedozie, and in commending him for this very incisive and very well-researched presentation, I will hail him by saying great Malabite, and I hope he can relate with that. You can see him turning his neck to hail me. Thank you very much, and I think we'll taps, and I'll leave it at this point because of time.
Thank you, Doctor. Okay, for those questions that we are unable to answer, we're collating them. Bosun is an ESCO here, and he's collating that already. And if you're in the newsletter or on the platform for Abuja chapter, you will get those answers, all right? There's a lot of them online. So, but again, I notice Abiodun Adesanya FNAPE is a bit itchy to say something where it is going. So you would like to say something before we move on? Just in a minute?
Yes, I would like to, if I'm permitted.
Yes, he said yes.
If I'm permitted.
Please, let's have audio in the room.
Okay, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Good
sir.
afternoon, Mr. Chairman, the distinguished guests, NAPI national and chapter executives, students, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for allowing us to speak what we think is topical, what we think is relevant to our national discourse. And thank you very much, Florida, for finding the motivation for this presentation. Is true. I'm an Ijebu son, and it cannot be happening in my backyard, and I do not have a comment or something to contribute. So there was indeed a motivation. But far beyond that, I'm a geoscientist with very good interest, more especially in the frontier basins. And this has led to our continuous interest in sponsoring the virtual field trip, as Ibrahim Dong had mentioned. So this topic was quite indigenous to us. We came up with it. When the emission, or when the leakage occurred, when the gas leak occurred in Enugu, I was equally challenged at that time as well, and some of the lecturers at UNN and UNIZIC had engaged them in discussions along this line. So, but the whole overall idea is to advance the cause of the country, to see how a natural resource that we have is being exploited. And I'm glad that Dr. Jaja from the NUPRC is here. We know the process. There has to be a licensing round. Somebody has to own the blocks where these locations are situated, and then they can go on and do their business of data acquisition, etc., etc. But the whole idea is to stimulate interest and get people to come forward and begin to do things. It's true that we need to quantify these gas resources before we can then plan on how to exploit and utilize them. I believe that this conversation, just like Dozier had said, is to spur conversations in those directions. I thank Dr. Miriam Shiro for contacting me and the discussions we've had. I thank NAPI as a whole. I thank you, the audience, for having us. Abuja chapter is somewhere we are quite comfortable with, and we will not be too shy to come back again to present this. As a matter of fact, while this presentation is on, somebody reached me from the amongst the ESCO that, Oga, you will have to come and present this in Lagos. It's still work in progress. We hope to develop the topic further and do more research, but the whole idea is to stimulate discussion and create awareness, and hopefully Nigeria will be much better for it. Thank you very much for your time, and please enjoy your afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. This is a well-time, well spent. We're shifting gears. We'll go to the presentation of gift, but before then, there are people from NNPC, they're in here from Tectonics that we have not recognized at the beginning. Thank you for coming, for showing up. And also, the ESCOs online, editor-in-chief tried to reach out to me. He's on.
Moderate it quickly. She's insisting.
Okay. So I like people like this because I think I'm one of it. So let me just read the question. Dozier and the chairman and the rest. Thank you, Dr. Dozier, for your wonderful and timely presentation. I am Freeman Kokara Kobo, a literary scholar and a writer.
This is my question.
vivid pictures of places in Enugu and Ijebu-Ode experiencing gas flaring, with the latter having a sinister connotation. That is the possibility of visiting earthquake in offing. Are there possible ways these earthquakes can be averted? Now, secondly, we have seen individual miners with permits carrying out their mining activities in Nigeria. Can individuals also obtain permits and take advantage of natural gas flaring in Nigeria? Okay.
Thank you so much, Freeman, Kokara, Kobo, and my very good friend. I know you asked a question. The very first question you asked is on how they can be averted. Yes, you know, the reason the Center for Geodesy and Geodynamics are continually mentioning them is because they are the one that will check the seismic events occurring that can lead to possible tremor occurrence within that place. And they can calculate and determine if there is possible tremor occurrence and when it will occur. And the only way they can avoid it is not as if you will avoid a tremor occurring, but you can avoid casualties by ensuring that people in that vicinity are being moved to another location. That's the only way you can avoid casualty. But for the tremor occurrence it's a natural phenomenon. Definitely it will occur. But you can avoid casualty may happen in there. Yes.
I think the chairman have already addressed that. So thank you, Dozie. From my little knowledge of geotectonics, right from undergraduates, be at peace. We're within very stable plates, right? Yeah, so the occurrence of those high tremors, it's infinitesimal in terms of digits. All right, so calm down. You know, that can send waves, people panicking and the rest, where Nigeria is within stable plates. So I come from a region where it's hard rock geology. So if there's going to be any tremor, it's going to start from the plateau, the Mambila and the rest. But come on, Enugu. Yeah? So calm down, right? So these are levels of assurance. All right, shifting gears. Presentation of gift. May I call on Madam Erilu Florida. Pardon me, I'm mutilating your name today. To come help us do the presentation to the presenter, Dr. Chiedozie. Please, this is your time to shine. Thank you. This is a token for us to say thank you from Abuja chapter. To the middle, please. To the middle.
On behalf of Nigerian Association of Petroleum Explorationists, this is an appreciation award presented to Dr. Chiedozie, Vincent Ekowu, Geoscientist, Degeconek, in recognition of your contribution as the presenter of today at the NUPRC Abuja Technical Meeting, Thursday, 30th July 2026. Courtesy NUPRC Abuja chapter. Thank you.
Okay, and for our sponsors, we have Dr. Apan do that presentation. To the middle, sir. Who is receiving on behalf of Degeconek?
Thank you very much for this very rare opportunity. On behalf of the leadership of the Nigerian Association of Petroleum Explorationists, I'm privileged to present this appreciation award to Degeconek Hydrocarbon Assets. A round of applause, please. Management consultants, in recognition of your contribution as the sponsor at the NUPRC Abuja Technical Meeting today. Congratulations.
Without the sponsorship of Degeconek, we would not be here, right? So they deserve a very big round of applause. And now for the chairman's presentation. The ACC herself will do it. Dr. Mariam Shiru.
Yes. I am honored to present this plaque in appreciation to Mr. Emmanuel Jaja in recognition of your contribution as the chairman of NAPE technical meeting today. Thank you very much. We appreciate it always. Thank you, sir. All right, I think we'll be taking announcements, and Dr. Mutari Lawal is our secretary, NAPE Abuja chapter. Please, can you project the announcements?
All right, thank you very much, my coordinator. So, with the NAPE announcement, we just had Abuja technical business meeting. Thanks to our presenter, Dr. Chiedozie, and our chairman, Mr. Jaja. Simultaneously, there is another technical meeting coming up in Lagos on the 19th of August, 2026. So the presentation will be on Beyond Site Survey Design, distinguishing in-field activities, intelligent data processing, workflows, and enhanced presentation of results. That will be happening in Lagos at Ekowu Hotels. 11 a.m. is the time. Please do well to attend. All right. So we move on to the NAPE big events, the 44th NAPE Annual International Conference and Exhibition. Sponsorship the theme of the NAPE ICE 2026 will be unlocking more barrels, driving reserve growth through exploration, local capabilities, and adaptive technology. Please, you are all encouraged to register for this event and block your calendar. Registration call out, early bird deadline will be September the 1st. So there is still opportunities for many people to catch this early bird advantage. So just visit nape.org.ng and make your present registrations. So we also call you for other activities such as the NAPE 2026 Summer School. Registration is ongoing, and the deadline for that one is tomorrow, 31st of July 2026. That will be on co-opting AI and machine learning to existing oil and gas upstream digital ecosystems. Please do well to attend that one and make your registration as soon as possible. A link is provided by the time it's projected on the slide. So we also look forward to our next technical workshop to be organized by the Abuja chapter. This one is themed Discovery to Sustainability, Integrating Subsurface Evaluation and Environmental Stewardship. This is a packed one. It's an opportunity for professionals and young professionals as well as students to catch on. There will be 4 speakers for this event, and the venue will be at African University of Science and Technology, housed at Galadima War, and the time is 10 a.m. Date 8 August 2026. Please watch out and do well to attend, especially for the student, because it's going to attract many participants from across the North Central. So we also bring to you NUPRC fundraising drive, which is aimed at purchasing permanent NUPRC secretariat. So there is a guideline for the minimum contribution, especially for active members are encouraged to pay 250,000 for fellows, and active members are encouraged to pay minimum of 150,000 naira, while lecturers are encouraged to pay 75,000 naira as their contribution. A bank account, First Bank, has been provided. Please, you can meet any of the executives for the bank account to make your contribution. Thank you for that in advance. Then we want to use this opportunity to mention some of NUPRC distinguished members honoring excellence. Dr. John Bosco, the immediate past NUPRC president. He has been given Rising Star of the Year award by the Nigerian Energy Week conference and exhibition. We also have Dr. Nosa Omorodion, FNUPRC. He has been given Lifetime Achievement Award, which is to be received at the African Energy Week 2026. So that's as much as we have. We encourage all members to renew their membership. Just visit nape.org.ng and renew your membership. The membership remains 2,000 naira for students, then 12,000 naira for active members, and then corporate members will be paying 50,000 naira. Thank you very much for your time, and we appreciate everyone that has come to this event.
Thank you, Dr. Lower. All right, the last item on our list today is to call on our president-elect, Dr. Anthony Ofoma, FNUPRC, to give it the closing remarks and further comments. Confirm you can hear me, sir.
Yes, I can hear you, Mr. Dong.
Okay, thank you so much.
Can you hear me?
Oh, yes, we can hear you.
Thank you very much. First, I want to thank the Abuja chapter coordinator for putting this together. This is a continuous discussion, which is not going to fade out anytime soon. We'll continue to talk about it until something is done. I sincerely appreciate the Abuja chapter as well as the ESCO. Thank you very much for this. I also want to thank the speaker, Dr. Chiedozie. Thank you, Chiedozie, for putting this together and delivering a well-structured, streamlined presentation. And then I also want to thank the chairman of the session, Mr. Emmanuel Jaja. I must confess, I just want to talk a bit about the chairman, Mr. Jaja. I've followed him keenly. Jaja has this very impressive interest in NUPRC. He has been at the beck and call of NUPRC, and I wish other members can emulate what he's doing for NUPRC. I know he has sponsored one of the technical meetings in Abuja chapter. He has done that. He's always there. He's always at a conference. He's there to respond to us on anything we want. Mr. Jaja, I must say, thank you very much. You have, I mean, I don't know what to say again, because, I mean, you have done more than what it should be. And I thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. The sponsors, I thank you. And also to Degeconek MD, Mr. Abiodun Adesoya, for even permitting his personnel, and to even use his platform to deliver this. Mr. Adesanya, I thank you very much. NUPRC appreciates you. You have always been there. A past president, he was a past president of NUPRC, so I don't expect anything less. Thank you very much, Mr. Abiodun. And then for the fellows who found time to, log in and then listen to the presentation, I say thank you for coming. Members, thank you for being here. Then our students, basically, you know that this presentation is largely for you. You might think you don't need it today, but definitely you will need it tomorrow because you're taking over from most of us. And as you take over from us, these are the little things that you latch onto and use it to move on. So thank you very much, everybody, for finding time to be with us. And I wish you safe time back to your workplaces and whatever you need to do. And thank you, and thank you for coming or being part of this. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Mr. Dong.
Thank you, P, sir. One mention is Poseidon, right? That is one presentation that we'll have to come back to, in my opinion. It's a stand-alone technical presentation. So Poseidon will come back to you. It seems to have been.
Sorry, Mr. Dong.
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me? Yeah, I forgot to say something about the
summer school.
Summer school. I've always been preaching it. Almost all the technical session, I keep saying something about it. So let me just say something. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
In the last 2-3 years, thank you. In the last 2-3 years, I'm not sure we've done anything summer school in the last 2-3 years, and this is an opportunity for us. We're looking at next month to have it. I know most of our students might not have the amount involved, and most of our young professionals, as well as graduate trainees and graduate people, okay, they might not have the funds to. So I'm appealing to our members who are well-to-do to please sponsor 1 or 2 persons to that event. I'm sure they will be glad that you did that for them. The poster is there, and I want to believe that at least 1 or 2 persons will get sponsored by you. Thank you very much. That's the only appeal I want to make.
Yeah, thank you very much. PE.
Yeah.
If you listen to the video, it says this is the best investment you can do to your career as a geoscientist in this time that we are. Having a deeper knowledge of artificial intelligence and machine learning. So please, if it means this is an investment, don't see it as one of those trainings. So do what you have to do to be at summer school. Thank you. Before you all go, we'll have a group photograph outside as a usual tradition. So don't be in a haste. There's drinks for you, which I should believe it has gone around now. So please come with your packs, right? So that nobody gets missing. Please, the chairman and we'll go out. We'll start with them before the entire crowd. Thank you, everyone. We network now. This is the time for networking. And for those of you online, over 65 people, thank you so much for joining us in this session. NAPE is a hub for learning.